Today, we have the privilege of getting to interview the University of Louisville's most successful Capsim MBA entrepreneur team. Let's go find out how they sold those sensors. Come on, they're in here. Let's get with them, let's talk to them, and find out the secrets to their success and their 99th percentile finish.
So Steve, I was wondering if you could talk about some of the key contributors to our team's success.
Well, Sean, it's a good question. First, let's talk about team dynamics. I think that we had a very good team as far as our dynamics are concerned. We all, first of all, felt comfortable getting together and making decisions. In fact, we met regularly every week and did not ever do anything outside, like on our own. We took great care to print out the capstone couriers, and we kept a very detailed binder that had every week so we could compare. I think that each one of us brought very different kind of skill traits to the group. First of all, Dane is very attentive to detail. Sean, you are excellent with spreadsheets and kind of mathematical formulas. And I was the guy who kind of helped push it together and had the big picture on different things. Spent a lot of time in TQM and the R&D aspects, where you guys were much better at some of the finances and our forecasting. Beyond that, we always refer to the balanced scorecard. Very important for any team that's going to do well. After you make decisions, always check your balanced scorecard. But beyond that, I think that we felt comfortable as a group. We didn't mind arguing or getting into it time to time, but at the end, we were able to walk out with good decisions made. So I think the key points here are get together as a group, print out your capstone courier, or make a binder, something to keep yourselves organized. You know, look at the strengths and weaknesses of your teammates and trust in them. And you know, also and finally, don't be afraid to call that 800 number. We called it a number of times, and if we didn't understand something, you know, some guys don't want to ask for directions, but we didn't mind.
So Steve, obviously strategy is a very important part of this simulation. I was wondering if you could talk about our team strategy and how that factored into our success.
Yeah, so what we did is we went to the help section in the manual, and we looked at all the different strategies. And the one that kind of stood out to us was the niche differentiation. And it's very clearly laid out where it wants you to have your placements of the products by the time you're done. And we decided that the higher tech areas would probably generate the most revenue in the end, because you could, you know, ask for the premium pricing. So that's what we decided. We were going to start off by introducing a new product in each of those categories, staying away from the low end and traditional pretty much the whole time. But as we progressed and we did introduce some new products, we realized that we could still be successful in the other markets as well, continuing to keep that high-priced and most up-to-date product with the lowest ages. So we changed our strategy to a broad differentiation, and that seemed to be very successful for us. But the key there was to look at what the other teams were doing and realize that we had that opportunity, and so we took it.
Sean, tell me about forecasting and the role that played in our team as we went through the capstone simulation.
Well, to be perfectly honest, in the practice rounds, we had a little trouble with forecasting. We undershot on some, and then we completely overshot on others. We didn't really have a method at that time. So as soon as we started the real simulation, we knew that forecasting was going to be a very important factor in our success. So before we made our first round decisions, we sat down, we took the time, and made sure we knew all the different methods to forecast. We used two methods that were in the manual. We generated a spreadsheet that would help us do that as quickly as possible. So by probably around 2 or 3, we got that down so we could automatically generate some forecasts within 10 minutes. And then that allowed us time to look at some other factors, such as like what the competition was doing, what we thought they might do, so we could take that into effect, because the predictions that were given by the manual were fairly close, but there was a lot of external factors in there that could really affect it. So it took a lot of our time, and we had to put a lot of thought into it initially.
Sean, how important was the development of new products early in the simulation? How important was that to our team?
Well, from the beginning, we had decided that our strategy was going to be broad differentiation. So we knew that from the strategy we saw in the manual that it was going to be important for us to have multiple products in the high end, the performance, and the size categories. So from the beginning, we kind of planned we knew that we wanted to introduce the new products as soon as we could. Once we actually got down and started looking at round 1, round 2 finances, we realized we couldn't introduce them all at once. So we introduced one product a year for the first 3 years. We made sure that we got them out there as soon as we could, put them in the right place, just so we could get ahead of the competition and make sure that we were as successful as possible in the markets that were going to mean the most to us down the road.
Steve, talk to me about the early implementation of TQM and how it affected our success as a team.
I think the way that we approached TQM was that we decided right off the bat that it was a really important thing to invest in. We wanted to get our R&D times down as quickly as possible because we knew that the high-tech industry demanded quick turnaround times, and we wanted to always have our products in before December of the upcoming year. So we scraped together every penny that we could get, and we started investing immediately. The other aspect was that we really wanted to lower our material costs, so our initial TQM money all went into the areas that touched that. Again, back with our niche differentiation, and then finally the broad differentiation, we were really focusing on those high-tech areas, and we knew that there would be much higher material costs, so we needed to find creative ways to get that down, and we invested right off the bat in that, and it seemed to have some great rewards in the end. So Dane, we have heard a lot about the balanced scorecard. Would you take a couple minutes and talk about how we used it and how we were successful with it?
Yeah, basically what happened, Steve, is as we continued to walk through this, we figured out after the first and second round that if you don't follow the balanced scorecard word for word, then you're not going to do well. And that's the majority of what you're graded on. And it's interesting because that correlates back to what investors and shareholders are going to grade us on. So what we did is, like you had said earlier, is we printed out all the materials we needed. We had everything out in front of us, whether it was digitally or in a hand copy. So the 3 things that were most important to us being the capstone courier, the debrief rubric, and again, a copy of the balanced scorecard. These things are what really helped us as we walked through just with our planning, with preparing for each week. The very first time we started looking at that balanced scorecard and comparing every decision we made with how it affected the balanced scorecard, and then again with the ratios that were given to us, we were able to further see where we needed to improve and what areas we were lacking in or where we were doing great already. So it enabled us to really balance what the shareholders want, hence the name. Additionally, talking about the the capstone courier for a competitive analysis of the industry, because that tied in as well. Our balanced scorecard and our decisions were completely affected by what the people in our industry were doing. And so we had to pay close attention to that and see who was trying to move what products where. We noticed early on that some competitors were spending about 1.5 to 2 years developing new products, and we could see that that was taking place. And so we prepared for that and began to move our products accordingly to make sure we were competing and to watch those spaces and kind of predict their moves. So it was a lot of preparing, a lot of planning, and like we said earlier, walking through that balanced scorecard the entire way through everything is what really set us up for success as we were doing this, and so continuing to refer to that.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We hope that you appreciated our video. Again, my name is Steve Onderway.
Sean McGillis.
Dane DeLozier.
And we just want to say, again, thank you and happy Capsim and enjoy the program.
If you need help, you know who to call. Not us, 1-800, the 1-800 number. So, bye!
I did my best.